I just wasn't sure if it was, okay. And then, yeah, and if you're getting them on projectors. I didn't have it last time either, but I thought I was just. Good idea. Well, I know, we'll still get everything. You'll still get everything but the video from the conference line, so. Okay, yeah. You're gonna speak from here. Yeah. And we're going to wait.
Yes. Councilman McGarry's not here, so.
In a social distance fashion.
What's that? Oh, okay.
So when I utter some nasty
When I
comment,
croon, I'm gonna use the washroom.
it's not in my nature. I gotta get back to the gym. Even coming up the stairs today, I feel my knees aching. I was thinking about that. How do they go like every, like I was trying to get on one day, get on, I did that for a year, and it was like in the morning, I never missed
All right, I'll talk to you later. Okay, bye. Thanks.
Just to share with you the joy that I felt today when someone wrote me politely about not having a robust political engagement about what the public wants.
And you said stay tuned?
Political engagement. No, I mean, they knew it was coming. They said, how dare you not roll that out to the public before you. I don't know, seems like putting that on the heart. Yay! Some people.
Some people, you cannot win.
No. I don't think I'll have to do it over again, though. Use my name incorrectly 3 times, when I pointed out to her. I think I've lost it forever.
I saw you dealing with, Ms. Rush the other day.
Oh. She's fine.
Yeah, I've been back to the office. I mean, most days, some days I work from home, but most days I'm here. I like being here.
Not with one, if I were, you want to stay home, it sounds like her probably gonna stay home forever. She's fine, right, so.
Yeah, well, they're talking about some of that here.
Just, you know, it's not, she's not correct. Right. The manager's working from, her other manager's working from Woodstock. That's where she lives. So she has to go in there, she has a perfect connection, she goes into the Woodstock office and then.
The only challenge, I get it from an individual worker or an individual business. But when we look at it as a total, we could be emptying 30% of the downtown if we're not careful. All those businesses are going to go.
Something to start talking about too. Right, but I asked her, I said, you know, I'm ready to give you some money to stay home, so to use our power. Right, stay home, right, we're still.
Well, that's as we've had the conversation here, that debate. That's consistent with design because, yeah, I think all that's reasonable. They're going to get a benefit from all this, trying to reduce their footprint and leasing space.
Yeah, I mean, they can even make money in that sense. They'll find a way to make money. Oh, of course they will. We know an economist that'll try to do something like that, don't we?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We'll call the meeting to order, the regular city council meeting of August 24th. Whoops. We'll begin with a poem from our cultural laureate, Jenna-Lynn Albert.
Thank you, Your Worship. This evening I'm reading a poem by Jamie Evan Kitts, who is a writer and editor from a family of thoughtful and caring storytellers in Fredericton. You can find Jamie's poetry analyses, among others, on the Atlantic Canadian Poets Archive, where they served as managing editor from 2018 until present. And this poem is a part of a zine that I helped curate for the Flourish Festival that is coming up the first week of September. There's a launch on September 3rd at the Capitol, so everyone's encouraged to come out. It will be a socially distant event and hear some poetry by a lot of phenomenal artists. The poem is called Are Cookies Still Cookies Without Milk or Eggs by Jamie Kitts. For Alice Kitts. 1 cup margarine. I told my family that I'm trans. 1 cup brown sugar. And we're all fine, if a bit overwhelmed right now. 1/2 cup white sugar. I had a nightmare where I started transitioning. 1 tablespoon egg replacer powder. And that they would abandon me if I didn't stop. 1/4 cup water. I wondered why Grandma wasn't in the dream. 2 1/4 cup white flour. And what she would say if she knew. 1 teaspoon baking soda. I found this old recipe in a stack of notes. 1/2 teaspoon salt. And found my answer. 2 cup semi-sweet dark chocolate chips. I think if she could accommodate my life-threatening allergies, bake 350 degrees Fahrenheit, 8 to 10 minutes, and all my other quirks, that she would accept any life-affirming procedures. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jenna Lynn. And we all love cookies. So, good poem. City Clerk, approval of agenda.
Thank you, Your Worship. We have one additional item this evening. Item 5.7, sale of 200 and 400 First Nation crossing.
Thank you. So with that addition, it'd be moved by Councillor Peter, second by Councillor Erickson, that the agenda be approved. All those in favor? Against? The motion is carried. Does anybody have a conflict of interest to declare on any of the items tonight? With the silence, that means no, and we will carry on. Oh, sorry, Councillor McDermott.
Sorry, 6.3.
6.3. Okay, we'll ask you to fill out your form, and Councillor McDermott will declare a conflict on item 6.3. Consent agenda. We have 6 items on the consent agenda. Does anybody wish to speak to any of them? If not, then be moved by Deputy Mayor, seconded by Councillor Keenan, that we move on the consent agenda. Somebody have a finger? Yeah, Councillor Keenan, sorry.
Just a question on that. So we had 6 items on there. What about the 5.7? Is that on the consent as well? Am I miscounting there?
Oh,
Yes, you're right. It's 7 items because we
Sorry.
added the
So-
additional.
The other item
would-
was add-on, so
So
yes.
would include the sale of 200 and 400. Okay, so
Yeah.
I'd like to speak on that one.
okay. Please do then.
Please do now,
Yep.
okay.
Yes.
So that's one that has just been added, and that is a sale of property on Two Nations Crossing. And I think, I just wanted to comment, I think it will be a good deal from a couple of perspectives. So we're selling a couple of pieces of properties to, is it Ross Ventures? That's named? Okay, well, it is now, so. That's what I heard in the closed session, so I hope I'm not, providing anything that wasn't already known. But it's a great opportunity for them to develop on Two Nations Crossing, and will help the the commercial development of that street road go ahead. And it also includes us a transfer of property to the city in Doak Road, which we will be able to hold for future development out there, which all in all I think is a great deal. And I think it speaks again to the approach that councils took in the past of gathering property in some of the undeveloped and unserviced areas of the city. That's exactly what we did on Two Nations, and we've sold multiple pieces of property there for far more than what we ever paid for them. So it's been a good revenue generator for the city. It allows us to encourage development in other areas. So very supportive of that.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Your Worship.
Well said, Councilor Keenan. I just want to speak to item 5.3 because I don't want a couple 100,000 disappointed people when they tune in on September 14th and we're not here. So we're going to reschedule our council meeting to the following date, September 15th. So
That's right.
the provincial people can have their time. Thank you.
Good point. Okay. All those in favor of the consent agenda? Those against? Motion is carried. Councillor Keenan, just on that point, when you raised it, that included Cliff Street as well. The city made a bold move there to run water and services up Cliff Street, accumulate a lot of property all the way across Two Nations, allowed the fire station to be built, the Leo Hayes High, and then all that development along Cliff and Two Nations has been a result of the vision that our staff brought forward to council quite a while ago. And land has been sold at a profit, but not only that, it's been developed and people are living there. It's helped transit, it's helped our tax base. It's been a huge success. So thanks for raising that. 6.1 bylaw S 15.5 fire lane changes at Brookside Mall. Councillor Dara.
Thank you, Worship. Be it resolved that bylaw number S-15.5, a bylaw to amend bylaw number S-15, fire lane bylaw for the city of Fredericton, be given first reading by title.
Seconded by Councillor Peters. On the question. All those in favor of the motion? Those against? Motion is carried. Carry on.
Be it resolved that bylaw number S-15.5, a bylaw to amend bylaw number S-15, fire lane bylaw for the city of Fredericton, be given second reading by title.
Seconded by Councillor Peters. On the question. All those in favor of the motion? Those against? Motion is carried. 6.2 bylaw Z61, Z10.1, and Z5-197 housekeeping amendments to a larger bylaw. Councillor Erickson.
Thank you, Worship. Be it resolved that the report of the Planning Advisory Committee dated 20 August 2020 with respect to a variety of changes to bylaw number Z-5, zoning bylaw for the City of Fredericton Municipal Plan Z-6, and the City Centre Secondary Plan Z-10 as outlined in the memorandum to the Planning Advisory Committee dated June 16, 2020 be received.
Thank you. Councillor Grandy is on the line. That'd be seconded by Councillor Grandy, a municipal plan. All those in favor of the motion? Those against? Motion is carried. City Clerk, hearing of objections and support.
Thank you, Your Worship. The Office of City Clerk has not received any letters of objection or support.
Okay, first reading. Councillor Erickson, carrying on right down the list.
Thank you, Worship. Be resolved that bylaw number Z-6.1, a bylaw to amend bylaw Z-6, a bylaw to adopt a municipal plan for the City of Fredericton, be given first reading by title.
Seconded by Councillor Grandy. On the question. Councillor Keenan.
Just a process question to the city clerk. If somebody wanted to speak to an item that was on the online, do we have a mechanism for that?
Yeah, if anybody wants to speak, they're directed to notify the city clerk's office, and then we send them out the link for that they participate, and then we put them on the list. So if we had no one had notified or contact our office to be put on the speakers list.
Okay.
That would be the process.
Okay. Where were we on that? We're calling the vote. All those in favor of the motion? Those against? Motion is carried.
Be it resolved that bylaw Z-6.1, a bylaw to amend bylaw number Z-6, a bylaw to adopt a municipal plan for the City of Fredericton, be given the second reading by title.
Seconded by Councillor Grandy. On the question. All those in favor of the motion? Those against? Motion is carried.
Be resolved that bylaw number Z-10.1, a bylaw to amend bylaw number Z-10, a bylaw to adopt a City Centre Secondary Municipal Plan for the City of Fredericton, be given first reading by title.
Seconded by Councillor Grandy. On the question. All those in favor of the motion? Those against? Motion is carried.
Be resolved that bylaw number Z-10.1, a bylaw to amend bylaw number Z-10, a bylaw to adopt a City Centre Secondary Municipal Plan for the City of Fredericton, be given second reading by title.
Seconded by Councillor Grandy. On the question. All those in favor of the motion? Those against? Motion is carried.
Be resolved that bylaw number Z-5.197, a bylaw to amend bylaw number Z-5, a zoning bylaw for the city of Fredericton, be given first reading by title.
Seconded by Councillor Grandy. On the question. All those in favor of the motion? Those against? Motion is carried.
Be resolved that bylaw number Z-5.197, a bylaw to amend bylaw number Z-5, a zoning bylaw for the city of Fredericton, be given second reading by title.
Seconded by Councillor Grandy. On the question. All those in favor of the motion? Those against? Motion is carried. Thank you. Bylaw 6.3, bylaw Z5-199, 1647 Woodstock Road. Councillor Millet.
Thank you, Worship. Be it resolved that the report of the Planning Advisory Committee dated August 20th, 2020, with respect to an application from Adrian Pembridge to rezone a portion of the walking trail, PID 75314245, from Park to Residential Zone 1, as shown on Map 2, be received.
Be seconded by Councillor Price. On the question. All those in favor of the motion? Those against? Motion is carried. City Clerk, hearing of objections and support.
Thank you, Worship. The Office of the City Clerk has not received any letters of objection or support.
Thank you. Councillor Millet.
Thank you. Be resolved that bylaw number Z-5.199, a bylaw to amend bylaw number Z-5, a zoning bylaw for the city of Fredericton, be given first reading by title.
Seconded by Councillor Price. On the question. All those in favor of the motion? Those against? Motion is carried. Carry on.
Be it resolved that bylaw number Z-5.199, a bylaw to amend bylaw number Z-5, a zoning bylaw for the city of Fredericton, be given second reading by title.
Seconded by Councillor Price. On the question. All those in favor of the motion? Those against? Motion is carried. 6.4. Bylaw Z5.200, 121 Church Street, rezoning. Councillor Rogers.
Thank you, Worship. Be it resolved that the report of the Planning Advisory Committee dated August 20th, 2020, with respect to an application from Reverend David Edwards on behalf of the Diocesan Synod of Fredericton to rezone a portion of 791 Brunswick Street from R4 to City Centre Institutional, CC1 zone, and that the 8% public land dedication for the tentative plan of subdivision to create one lot in the CC1 zone from a portion of 791 Brunswick Street be taken in the form of cash, be received.
Seconded by Councillor Peters. On the question. All those in favor of the motion? Those against? Motion is carried. City Clerk, hearing of objections or support.
Thank you, Worship. The Office of the City Clerk has not received any letters of objection or support.
Thank you. Carry on, Councillor.
Be it resolved that bylaw number Z-5.200, a bylaw to amend bylaw number Z-5, a zoning bylaw for the city of Fredericton, be given first reading by title.
Seconded by Councillor Peters. On the question. All those in favor of the motion? Those against? Motion is carried.
Be it resolved that bylaw number Z-5.200, a bylaw to amend bylaw number Z-5, a zoning bylaw for the city of Fredericton, be given second reading by title.
Seconded by Councillor Peters. On the question. All those in favor of the motion? Oh, sorry, Councillor Rogers. Sorry.
No,
All those in favor?
Yeah.
Against? Motion is carried.
But Your Worship, if
Yeah.
I could say something, I wanted to wait for all the voting because I don't want to sway anything either way, but I was just going to share what's being done, the diocesan, because a lot of people, it's a high interest area. The property that was on the corner of Brunswick Street and Church Street, Bishop's Court, had been out of the cold shelter last year. They were, I guess, the winter before last. And so it's been sort of in the public eye of that property. And I can speak to there's many properties around Christchurch Cathedral that are owned by the diocesan, and they're looking at gathering sort of portions of property to put together to create sort of a multi-purpose building where they would have, or where they would put their sort of community, sort of their community meetings and activities, where some of the church offices would be. The church hall that's currently on Church Street doesn't really satisfy all the needs of the congregation. And so that's the development. There was a lot of concern in my ward about what that development was going to be. So if there's anyone out there that's wondering, it's that is what the zoning, the request to amend the zoning is for, to create this sort of a building that could be sort of a multi-purpose building for the congregation. That's the intent.
Okay, thank you. Item 6.5, bylaw Z5 201-227 Fulton Avenue, a rezone or a zoning application. That would be Councillor Grandy's ward, but he's on the phone, so we'll get him to read it, because just in case the audio is a bit bad, but I'll get Councillor Keenan to take this one.
His stunt double, Councillor Keenan. Be it resolved that the report of the Planning Advisory Committee dated August 20th, 2020, with respect to an application from Rosemary and Calvin Thompson for a zone amendment to permit a 3-unit dwelling at 227 Fulton Avenue be received.
Seconded by Councillor Grandy. On the question. All those in favor of the motion? Those against? Motion is carried. City Clerk, hearing of objections or support.
Thank you, Worship. The Office of the City Clerk has not received any letters of objection or support, and the applicant is on the line if council has any questions.
Thank you. Councillor Keenan, first reading.
Thank you. Be it resolved that bylaw number Z-5.201, a bylaw to amend bylaw number Z-5, a zoning bylaw for the City of Fredericton, be given first reading by title.
Seconded by Councillor Grandy. On the question. All those in favor of the motion? Those against?
Be it resolved that bylaw number Z...
Motion is carried.
Oh,
You're
okay.
just, I was slow and you were quick.
Oh, you were slow and I was quick, yeah. Now we're neither.
Now we're, yeah.
Be it resolved that bylaw number Z-5.201, a bylaw to amend bylaw number Z-5, a zoning bylaw for the City of Fredericton, be given second reading by title.
Seconded by Councillor Grandy. On the question. All those in favor of the motion? Those against? Motion is carried. And 6.6, change to terms and conditions at 3532 Woodstock Road. Councillor Millet.
Thank you, Your Worship. Be it resolved that the report of the Planning Advisory Committee dated August 20th, 2020, with respect to an application from Carrie Sprague on behalf of Green Forest Early Learning Center to amend terms and conditions of bylaw number Z-5.155 to permit an additional 25 childcare spaces at an existing childcare center located at 3532 Woodstock Road be received.
Seconded by Deputy Mayor. On the question. All those in favor of the motion? Those against? Motion is carried. City Clerk, hearing of objections or support.
Thank you, Your Worship. The Office of the City Clerk has not received any letters of objection or support.
Thank you. Councillor Millet.
Whereas at the meeting of August 24th, 2020, Council received a report of the Planning Advisory Committee recommending that the terms and conditions set out in Schedule A and pertaining to bylaw number Z-5.155 adopted by Council at its meeting of September 10th, 2018, imposed on property located at 3532 Woodstock Road, be repealed and replaced with new terms and conditions as outlined in Schedule B, attached here to and forming part of this resolution in order to create 25 additional child care spaces. And whereas the requirement of subsection 59, subsection 3, and section 111 of the Community Planning Act have been fulfilled with respect to the change in terms and condition, be it resolved that Council hereby adopts a proposed amendment to the terms and condition imposed on property located at 3532 Woodstock Road as set out above.
Seconded by the Deputy Mayor. On the question. All those in favor of the motion? Those against? Motion is carried. 7.1, bylaw L11-170, stop up and close portion of Beaverbrook Street. That would be Councillor Rogers. Excuse my voice is going out here, but we'll get through this.
Okay, thanks, Your Worship. Be it resolved that bylaw number L-11.170, a bylaw to stop up and close a portion of Beaverbrook Street, be read by summary pursuant to section 15(3) of the Local Governance Act.
Seconded by Councillor McDermott. On the question. All those in favor of the motion? Those against? Motion is carried.
Whereas municipalities may make bylaws pursuant to the Local Governance Act Now therefore be it enacted by the Council of the City of Fredericton and pursuant to the authority vested in it by Local Governance Act SMB 2017, Chapter 18 as follows. The purpose of proposed bylaw number L-11.170 is to stop up and close a portion of Beaverbrook Street, and be it resolved that bylaw number L-11.170, a bylaw to stop up and close a portion of Beaverbrook Street, be given third reading by title.
Seconded by Councillor McDermott. On the question. All those in favor of the motion? Those against? Motion is carried. Now we move on to 8.1, and this is a big step forward here for the city. This is as you well know, this is something that council has asked staff to come back and develop this Engage Fredericton process, and we're being presented tonight by the program by Giselle Gauguin, our Manager of Strategic Communications and Public Engagement. And that position was created, one of the key reasons the position was created was not only to get us working more cohesively internally and with our external customers, but to develop a product like this so that we can engage like never before with our citizens. And our citizens can participate in the democracy of the city and give us advice. We can disseminate information a lot more directly, more clear, and in a real more dynamic fashion. So I don't want to tip her hand anymore, so I'm going to let Giselle take it away.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'm really pleased and proud to have been invited tonight to talk to you about Engage Fredericton, Parlons-en Fredericton. Before I started, I just wanted to let you know that Anik Blizzard, who's a new recruit to the city in the communications department, was a huge part of this with me, of this project. She came to the city with a very strong background in digital marketing and social media strategy, and she's been invaluable. So if you like what you hear tonight, it reflects Anik's work as well, so she's listening. I did a run through this morning this afternoon with Adam. Engage Fredericton is nothing less than a new way of engaging with residents for the city. It's a game changer for us. Strategic communications is what I do at the city, and so I brought that approach to the engagement piece. It delivers on the promise and the direction of council in terms of more transparent engagement, more meaningful engagement with citizens. Engage Fredericton will add texture, depth, nuance to the ongoing conversations we want to have with residents. That people can talk to us when they want, how they want, where they want, on a variety of topics that are important to them. And it improves the quality of the conversation that we have with residents and the residents have with us by grounding that conversation in facts. So without further ado, welcome to Engage Fredericton.
We want you to be part of the conversation. Engage Fredericton is our city's new public engagement platform. We want to hear from you on things that matter to our community. Learn more about plans that interest you. Weigh in on decisions you care about, or just tell us your big idea to make our growing city even better. Join the conversation and make sure your voice is heard. Find out more at engagefredericton.ca. We want you to be part of the conversation.
Nous vous invitons à donner votre avis. Parlons-en Fredericton est la nouvelle plateforme d'engagement public de notre ville. Nous souhaitons avoir votre opinion sur les dossiers qui vous concernent. Informez-vous sur des projets qui vous intéressent, prononcez-vous sur les décisions importantes ou partagez simplement vos grandes idées pour la ville. Participez, faites-vous entendre. Visitez parlonsenfredericton.ca.
So, as you can tell from the promotional video that'll be part of our campaign that I'll talk to you a bit more later, and the website, this is the landing page for the website. Engage Fredericton, Parlons-en Fredericton has its own look and feel, which will carry through to not only online activities, but also in-person engagements that we might have, signage, that sort of thing, promotional material. So it'll have its own look that's distinct from the city website. And so I'll just walk you through. It's a little small on the big screen, but if you look at your smaller screens, this is what people will see when they get on. So there's at the top, this is the first, it's a screen cap. So this is the top part of the page, and there's a welcome right away that explains what Engage Fredericton is, and that invites people to sign up. Because while anyone can go on the site to look around, to engage in the actual activities, you need to sign up. And that's, I'll get into that a bit later, but that's so that we can really know that it's real people, that people aren't taking the same survey 15 times, that type of thing. And it's to protect the integrity of the data that we get, of the information. As we scroll down the page, we feature projects, and that's the exciting part. So departments come up with, they dream up their own projects that they want the public to weigh in on. And so I'm not showing you all the projects that we're launching with, because that's no fun, but I will show you a few. First one that you see on the screen there is the Community Energy and Emissions Plan. That's going to be a survey. Well, it is a survey where people can weigh in on that very important topic. It's an important plan for the city, and we want to hear from residents on it. We also have a Help Us Plan Fall Flower Beds, which I think that's one that I'm going to show you later. That's more of a fun activity where Mike LaCroix is loosening his grip on deciding who gets to design flower beds. So as we scroll down the page, there's a couple more. There's one called Where in Fredericton. It's just a quiz where it's like close-ups of buildings. I did very badly on it. Close-up of buildings like a gargoyle or a corner or whatever, and you have to guess where it is. It's a multiple choice. And the last one that I'll show you on this page is, I can't remember what we actually called it, but it's basically Ask a City Engineer. So Fredericton, as you all know, is a place where a lot of people have lots of questions about traffic and about streets and roads. So people can go on, leave their question, and city staff in the engineering department will answer them. All kinds of things. I think that's one of the ones I'm going to be showing you a bit later. So it's a really good, oh yes, and then as we go down the page, on the green section, that's a place where we can put public meetings. So I put 3 councils on there, but we can put committee meetings, we can put planning advisory committee meetings, the tree commission, whatever, any sort of public meetings that we have, we can put them on there and people can go take a look. And then another call to action at the bottom to sign up. So how we got here. I spoke at the beginning about how council had given direction for more meaningful engagement with residents, and this is a big part of that. So when we talked about, when we were thinking about engagement, we went looking for what's the gold standard for public engagement. And it is the International Association of Public Participation, or IAP2. IAP2 is what is used by municipalities for the most part in Canada and internationally. They have their best practices organization. They have strategic approaches to engagement, core values, and professional development. I've taken some of the professional development. Sean Lee, Marcella Battalana, they've taken it. It's excellent, excellent, and it came highly recommended. And when you told us to go find the best, that's what we did. Within the IAP2 framework, we found Bang the Table, which is not only a funny name for a company, but it's actually, their specialty is online engagement for municipalities. They work with more than 150 Canadian municipalities, and they work with municipalities all over North America and Europe and elsewhere, I think, but at least those 2. They're again a gold standard for municipal online engagement. They provide training, ongoing support. They've been wonderful. They've trained, Nick Blizzard and I are the site administrators. They trained us, but they also trained all our project administrators, which are staffers around the City of Fredericton Corporation, who come up with these projects and are actually the ones who run them online. And I'll get into a bit of that later. They also provide 24/7 live monitoring and any other ongoing support. They've been really great to work with. In terms of cost, Bang the Table, the platform and the service is $20,000. And that most of that has come from engineering and operations, but also some from comms. And we'd love to, a little plug, I'd love to make that a budget line item moving forward. leave that there. So it's, the other thing too is that with Engage Fredericton, it can be its own engagement. We can have things that are only on the website, but they can also come and support in-person engagement. When we have larger initiatives where we want to have something to complement it, where if you can't get to the meeting, you can do something online, or you can do both, or it actually will come and add a huge benefit to larger in-person engagements as well. It's very, what's the word in English? Polyvalent. It's very adaptable. This was a team effort, and this is my favorite part of the presentation because I get to talk and brag about my colleagues a bit. Staff were very enthusiastic, and they've embraced this platform very much. They understand that it's an outlet for them to engage with their stakeholders and the public in general in the city. People across the city of Fredericton have been trained by Bang the Table to develop projects and to use the platform. The platform is very intuitive. And if I'm telling you that, it must be because I can barely program my phone to do anything. So the platform is very easy to use, but even with that, there was training needed. And so many people stepped up, and so many people are really interested in the enthusiasm from staff. They get what a game changer this is, and they get what a big opportunity this is. So they've been really wonderful. And as I said, Bang the Table provided training for the admins across the corporation. So while Anik and I provide the strategic guidance, the projects themselves are really dreamed up by staff in the departments. So we met with directors, managers, and staffers who were interested in each department, and we brainstormed ideas for this launch. So we have several projects when we launch in early September, and then we have some more in October, and then it's sort of an ongoing thing. And so yes, so that's been a really nice part of this, is that staff wholeheartedly, they get it, and they understand what a big opportunity it is to really engage with the people we serve. So that's been really wonderful. So how does the site work? Basically, it provides many ways for people to have their voice heard in decisions that matter to them, big or small. So when you have a project, a topic, you can, the project admin with us, we create a project for the website, and you can pick from any number of tools: surveys, quick polls, questions and answers, sharing ideas. You can say, what is it that what would you like to see in the next park? Or what, tell us what you love about Fredericton in fall. What do you think about, just leave us your ideas. There's also, and this is a very cool feature, interactive maps. So the obvious thing is, where would you like to see a new trail in the city? Boom, drop a pin on the map. Where would you like to see a new pocket park? Drop a pin on the map. And we can use it for all kinds of different things. We can use it to demonstrate, but also to get feedback from people. And one of the things that's interesting too is there's the smaller one-off projects, but there's also large projects where people can check in from beginning to end, and there'd be several touchstones throughout the life of the project. So an example would be, let's say we were building a new park. We were planning for a new park. So we could have an interactive map at one point. Where do you think the park should be? We could do a storytelling feature. Tell us about your favorite experiences in a Fredericton park. A survey. What do you think should go in the playground? A Q&A with the city forester about the types of trees that can go in the park, or whatever. I'm promising Mike Glynn this, so anyway, he'll be thrilled. But my point is, we can use it for big and small, and it's a way of really allowing people to weigh in a way we haven't been able to do before. So it's to me, it's very exciting. Possibilities are really endless on that front. So I'd like to show you just a few sneak peek. These are just a few of the projects we have lined up for the launch in early September. So the first one here is the community energy engagement, the community energy and emissions plan. That's a survey. And if you look down the side, there are different features. Every project will have the register, inviting people to register or sign up to use to engage with the site. But there's always a who's listening. So in this case, I think it says Brittany McLean at the top, and the couple of people from Stantec that she's working with. There's also a, I think that one is key dates. It's very small, I can't see it from here, but there's key dates down the side. You can have the life cycle of a project, you know, like now we're here, that next we're gonna be doing that, and next we're gonna be doing this. Links to the city site, links to other websites that we wanna use, that sort of thing. So it's very adaptable in terms of not only the tools, is it a survey, is it a poll, but also you know, things that we want to tell people. There can be a Q&A, FAQs down the side, background, all kinds of stuff. So depending on what type of project you have, you know, it's very adaptable in terms of providing people with, again, a conversation grounded in facts, right? So that's one. This is the Where in Fredericton, which is very cool. Again, this is from the tourism department. And this is very simple, quick poll. Like I said, I did very badly at it, but I'm sure you will do better. Your traffic questions answered. So this is one of my favorites. You know, people, you know, one of the examples to say, you know, why hasn't the Beaverbrook Waterloo Forest Hill intersection been converted to a roundabout? There's a reason for that. So, you know, that's a question that the city engineers get. Why aren't children playing signs installed in all residential streets? There's a reason for that. Let's answer that question if we get it. My favorite part of this project is the last line right before you can leave your question, which is, so Fredericton, what would you like to know? So that's the kind of feeling that we want to have on this site, just very open and inviting people to weigh in. And again, the sign up button's always there. This is Parks and Trees help us design a flower bed. And that has a life cycle example down the side, as you can see, when it opens, when it closes, and when we pick. And this is a very cool one as well. This is an example of a partnership with the community. So we partnered with UNB. There's a new section of trail up by Knowledge Park, and we're inviting people to share their ideas to naming the trail. So we're going to be opening it up, and then there'll be a committee that will pick a top 5. We'll go back out with the top 5, and we'll have a name for the trail. And so if you look down the side for who's listening, there's the engineering department, but there's also Karen Cunningham, who's the UNB Vice President of Finance. So and they're very excited to be doing this with us. And it's a great opportunity. Again, we partner with people in the community a lot. This is a way of doing that. So we're starting with 4 or 5 projects with the strategy that as the community of people grows on the site, we'll have a higher number of more consequential or substantive projects, right? The more people on the site, then the more perhaps consequential, like I said, projects that we'll have. That way we ensure that we're gathering data that's representative. Although we do have, you know, a couple of quite important projects right out of the gate, one of them being the Community Energy and Emissions Plan. Last slide, I just wanted to show you, we have a whole promotional campaign set up, devised. And these are going to be paid ads on social media. The first one on the left will be the video that I showed you earlier. And then the one on the right is an example of it's in French, but it's an example of a redirect. So if people have clicked on, they've gone to the site, but they haven't signed up, they'll say, hey, remind you know, that it's very smart the way it's done. I say that because I'm not the one who thought this up. And we'll also have things for, so when the site launches, we'll have this marketing campaign in place for several months to encourage residents to sign up to engage Fredericton, Parlons-en Fredericton. So these are examples of what the social media ads will look like, and you might see them on your own feeds, and they're shareable, so please share. But we'll also provide counsel and staff or whoever asks and partners in the community like DFI or BFN with shareable social media posts to promote Engage Fredericton that we hope that you will use on your own platforms and with your partners in your own way to help get the word out. So that's it. I have no idea how long I've spoken for, but I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you, Giselle. That's an enthusiastic presentation for a real exciting project. And I'm sure there's some questions or comments. Councilor Millet to start with.
Didier?
I think for the 4+ years that I've been on council, the one word that we hear often is, if it's not snow removal, it's communication. I think communication is a two-way street. So I think this is a tool that gives us that option to get that feedback. And you use the word game changer. I think it really is. I think we have a smart and engaged population here in Fredericton. I think the fact that and you said it's for a big and small project and everything in between. I think that's real important. And as much as I believe that, right, we were elected to make tough decisions, I think if we can have more information, be able to engage with the public, I think it helps us make those tough decisions, but it also gives weight to their decision-making process. So I'm looking forward to that, because too often people think that commenting on social media is equal being engaged, and that's not really how it works. So the fact that now we have that platform, it's really good. I do have a couple questions. And one, when you sign in the data, I'm guessing the address where you live is part of that?
No. It's your name, your email address, and your postal code. That's it.
Okay, so postal code will give us.
Yeah, because what that's for is basically, is this someone from Fredericton? And and also it allows us, because I didn't get into all this, but the back end of the site provides all kinds of ways to present data. You can, and which is really nice. It's a separate English and French site, but we can put them together. There's ways of doing that so that we have the overall look or the overall view. But the postal code as well would say, like, let's say we're thinking about putting in having a pilot project in Councillor Dara's ward. And we ask questions on, we have an Engage Fredericton project, and then we have people weigh in. Then we can say, well, how many of these people are actually in Councillor Dara's ward? That's all it is. But no, I mean,
that's what I was.
That's all it is.
For.
Yeah.
Thank you. And then my last question: what's the vision to share that information with council? How's that going to work?
How would you like to receive the information? I mean, basically, we're open to direction on that, but certainly you will have access to all the information and data that we get. The Bang the Table platform provides very easy ways of handling the data and presenting it. So it's made for creating presentations from, so that won't be an issue at all.
I'm guessing I'm just thinking even now on, right, community presentation, committee presentation.
Yeah.
Staff's going to use some of that.
Of course.
Too.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Right. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else? Councillor Erickson.
Thank you, Worship. Thank you very much, Giselle, for bringing this forward. I think I've been waiting for something like this to be unveiled in Fredericton since at least 2014, when a few of my colleagues and I saw some early digital tools at a trade show at the FCM annual convention. And that had me hoping ever since that we'd do some digital work to help engage our constituents. I do have a bunch of little questions. I'll forgo those. I will affirm that it should be part of the budget process moving forward. This is clearly something that needs to get covered with the governance budget, but I'll defer to staff as to the best place for that to go. But I am curious how we're going to evaluate the effectiveness of this platform moving forward.
Through you, Your Worship, I didn't do that last time. I apologize. So that's interesting. I think we have to be going for a while. Bang the Table provides a lot of support in terms of how to look at the data. And, it's sort of like any kind of project management. You have a goal at the beginning, you do your project, and then you evaluate at the end. And I think that those principles, apply to here. So I think it also depends on the project too. I think it depends on what the project is, what you were trying to achieve. And, right now we haven't launched it yet. We're launching it in early September. So as the site grows, that's why we're starting with less consequential or perhaps, fewer sort of super substantive, projects, because we want the site to grow. So certainly the more people who use the site, the more, I guess, relevant the data would be.
Excellent. I'm also curious whether or not non-residents can engage in the platform as well.
Okay. Through you, Your Worship, I have signed on to any number of municipal. I am a member of the Kamloops. I'm a member of What's Happening Kingston. You name it. In my research for this, so yes, anyone can go on at any time and look around without being signed up, but anyone can engage on any of the projects once they sign up.
Right, and it's all based on self-declared postal code authenticity.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Your Worship.
Okay. Councillor Rogers.
Thank you, Your Worship, and thank you so much, Sal, for the presentation, but more so for bringing this to us. I, like Councillor Erickson and like many others I know, have been waiting for a tool that helps us to meaningfully engage. We, you know, to Councillor Mai's comment about the two-way street, I know we often are, you know, we talk about communications, but our communications has often been about relaying information, and this gives us an opportunity to receive the information back. And I think that's, as decision makers and policymakers, that's really what's most important is, yes, presenting the facts, but then also having a reaction and having input from our residents. And I like how this tool provides that opportunity. I also like how proactive it is and how it's putting ideas out there, because sometimes people know that they want to engage, but they do it in a reactive way. They can't imagine what it is they'd want to engage in until they get really upset about something, and then that's when they begin to contribute. So this gives ideas, but that does lead me to what if a person did want to engage on something that isn't on the site? Like, what if they have an issue? Is there an opportunity on this site for the public to raise an issue? And even if it's contentious, is it something that we would entertain putting up there to get feedback? Because, I mean, let's be honest, that's where our breakdown has been in the really contentious issues, other than angry emails or nasty posts on Facebook, or how do we receive some constructive feedback from the community? So is that possible?
Yes, it is, through your worship, it is possible. A lot of municipalities, what they do is they'll have a tell us your big idea. And it's always on the site. It's always there. It doesn't, it's not a project with a beginning, middle, and end. And people can go on and post things that they're concerned about, questions that they have, or just suggestions that they have for the city to do better, to do things better. So that's one way to do it. And certainly at any point, council can suggest to staff, you know, because these ideas all come to Anik and I, right, from staff. So council at any point can speak to staff, you know, through the channels that you would normally use to suggest project ideas and for their consideration. So, but there are possibilities of, like I said, to provide people with just sort of a very open, a very open project on the site where it's like, tell us your big idea, tell us what you think, tell us your suggestion. It's like in the video, right? Get your ideas for making Fredericton even better. So we're open to that as well, obviously.
Okay, good. I think that that's an important tool to have. I know that it's monitored 24/7, so I guess there's a way to ensure that that's constructive comments. But I like that openness. I think that it needs to be two-way. It's proactive in that we're giving ideas, but we also do need to be responsive to what people want to talk about. This is a nice segue into who is going to be the keeper of this. I know that Councillor Erickson speaks to, you know, it's obviously some of these are going to be budgetary questions. So who is the point person? Will there be a point person on staff that we can go to with our ideas? Is there a point person on staff that we can go to get some of the back end data? Because to me, that will be very valuable to us. And have we thought that far ahead, or is that a budget question?
No, not at all. Through your worship, there's you. I mean, I would be the point person for the site, or Dave Seabrook, but you can always come to me. In terms of the data that we receive, that will always obviously be available to council. Sometimes, like as I said to Councillor Mallet, sometimes it'll be in the form of a report to a committee or a council on a project, and it'll be like, oh, and we did engagement, and here's what we found. Sometimes it'll be a standalone thing that we will provide to you. We haven't thought out every single thing that way, but obviously the intent is it's a tool for council to understand where people are at in terms of your decisions and your direction. So yes, absolutely. And in terms of ideas that you may have, you can always come to me, or if you know what department it would be, you could go to that department.
Okay, thank
the
you.
Department's director or manager.
Great, thanks. I'm really excited about it, so thank you.
So am I.
Councillor Keenan.
Thank you, Your Worship. Giselle, on the, I think it's a great tool as well, and I think it'll be interesting to see how we do engage with the public through that, and specifically on when items come through that are contentious, how we engage with the public. Councillor Rogers mentioned that there's monitoring of the site. Will we monitor it for respectful discourse? Yes. And if we have repeat cases of disrespectful discourse, will we go so far as to exclude them from the site?
Through you, Your Worship, yes. Bang the Table provides 24/7, like 24 hours a day, 7 days a week monitoring of everything on the site. And there are rules of engagement that are on the site that, you can't act this way, you can't act that way. So yes. And in terms of the project, I didn't get into all this detail at the time, but the tools that we use, we can, there's different environments, and it's not it's not Facebook where people just pile on and pile on. That's not what this is. It's an engagement tool that is practical, where people can feel comfortable providing their input. And certainly there will be zero tolerance for abuse. The repeat offender thing, I will ask that, but my understanding is yes, they could be barred from the site, but I will confirm that and let you know.
Okay, good, thank you. And the other concern I have, and I do want to mention as well, especially the open concept of it, where people can throw their ideas out. I think that'll generate a lot of great discussion and ideas and things that we might want to move on we never thought of, just like we see from our startup community. A concern I do have is the fact that we aren't tracking where people are providing the input from, in other words, where they live. Because when we do utilize this site, we're going to use it to make decisions about the city of Fredericton and how it impacts the residents of Fredericton into the future. I want to have some surety that the input we're getting is from the residents of the city of Fredericton, and how we can discern the difference between the two. I don't think we want to exclude anybody from providing input to the site, but I also want to ensure when we make our decision, we know we're making it for the interests of the residents of the city. So how can we do that?
Through you, Your Worship. There are the standard that Bang the Table, the best practice that they gave us is the name, email, and postal code. And in terms of once that's given, they have to confirm that in their own email inbox. So it is, yes, someone could make up a postal code and pretend that they lived here, I guess. But Bang the Table's been doing this for a very long time, and they said that is the best way. Because if we start asking people for their home addresses, we don't want to we don't want to make it so that it's too onerous. But the advice that we got from Bang the Table was that was the best way to ensure that we have real people who actually live here.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else? Is anybody online that has their hand up? No? All right. Thank you very much, Dave and Giselle and Neeks on the phone, and thanks for the hard work on this. This is, as I say, as you said in your opening bullet, this is a game changer. This will really change how we can interact with the people that elect us and that pay taxes here in the city in a fun way and in a serious way. And this is something we've all wanted for a long time. We're going to walk a bit before we run. You have a couple of fun projects. The sky's the limit, perhaps down the road, once we learn how to use this and how we can do it, and how we can learn to engage and provide facts to everybody to let them comment. So it'll be factual information going out and some good information coming back in. So congratulations again for delivering on this, and I can't wait to get it going. Thanks. So the next item is 8.2, Hotel Levy Governance, and Dave Seabrook, Director of Recreation, Tourism, and Community Engagement.
Thank you, Your Worship. This is really a housekeeping item, and I'll be extremely brief this evening. If you remember back in the winter, in what seems like a decade ago, pre-COVID, Council passed its management committee structure for the hotel levy. And that structure was 9 seats, 5 of which would be tourism industry representatives, and 4 of which would be city representatives. And we are now in the process of beginning to populate that now that we're sort of come up for air and have a little time on our hands after the COVID challenges of the summer. And so we're going back to the Hotel Association, which will nominate 3 representatives and confirming their representatives. And also this week, we'll be putting out a call for our tourism industry representatives and asking for people to nominate or self-nominate. And we're looking for people of an executive level or ownership or management, people with a strong background in marketing or product development in tourism, so that they can help us come up with strategies to spend the money in the tourism as a result of the tourism levy, and develop strategies and marketing programs to support it. So in the coming days, you'll see through the clerk's office a call for nominations for our tourism representatives from the tourism industry outside of the accommodation sector, which the Hotel Association will nominate its 3 representatives. And then, of course, the city representatives, I'll be working with the CAO to populate the city representatives as well. And I expect we'll come back somewhere in the next 6 to 8 weeks and have a committee to present to you, and then we'll get to work at coming up with some strategies to support what is a tourism industry that has certainly struggled through this summer. So it'll be a valuable exercise as we look at 2021.
Thank you, Dave. Any questions? Councilor Millet.
Thank you, Dave. Like I said, I'm looking forward to seeing what this committee can do to help the industry in the needed time. Just the two members, how are they going to be decided?
Well, we will call for nominations, and then we will, one of them will be a major stakeholder. I think we had identified, say, the Fredericton Convention Center or a major stakeholder of that variety. And then the other will be a tourism industry representative at large, and we'll be looking at resumes and then on the advice of the CAO, making a nomination to bring forward.
So it's going to be a recommendation to council, and then council is going to vote on it?
But we'll bring the slate forward for your confirmation.
Thank you.
Okay. No other questions? Thanks, Dave. Look forward to seeing the proposed slate. Motion to excuse Councillors Chase and McGarity. That be moved by Councillor Erickson, seconded by Councillor McDermott. On the question, all those in favor? Against? Motion's carried. And a motion to adjourn. That would be Peters and Price. And no debate. Motion, meeting adjourned.
Good evening, everyone. I'm looking for